Hi.
It's 2023, AI is in the air, so you're working on a school project and you need a picture of the founding fathers. You type it into Google's Bard, and this is what you get. Oh my god. Wow. You'd think Google's AI future was cooked after this one, never coming back. But I'm here to tell you they're actually better positioned than most to win in AI today, even against OpenAI. Momentum is everything, right? Who has more users, who has more distribution, when can I profit, is what all the greediest goblins are thinking. But Google might actually win this thing, despite hitting a brick wall on day one to start its AI career. They seem to have fixed a lot of things, and now that they know what white people look like, their tide might just be turning. I'm
Bugsy.
the good goblin. This is Business Goblin. Let's talk about Google's AI comeback. So here's the sad part. The company that literally created the core technology behind ChatGPT and nearly every other AI app out there today got completely dunked on by ChatGPT. You see, back in 2017, Google researchers dropped a new paper called Attention is All You Need. And when a researcher drops a paper, that's like dropping your first mixtape, and this one was fire. It introduced the transformer architecture, basically the T in ChatGPT. Yeah, Google literally made that. They created the thing that could lead to their own demise. So shout out to them for not gatekeeping, I guess. But even earlier than that, the AI lab DeepMind inside of Google stunned the world. And this wasn't even their first AI flex. In 2016, they made a model called AlphaGo, and it beat the world championship in Go. I also had no idea what that meant, so I found out it's actually a game, but not just any regular kids game. Apparently it's a very sophisticated game with more possibilities than atoms in the universe. Or at least that's what AI told me. It was definitely one of those we're living in the future moments. At least for whoever's in the Go community. Drop a comment if you knew what Go was. And DeepMind was a UK startup founded in 2010 by these people, who probably watched Skynet in those Terminator movies and thought, yeah, that seems pretty chill. Well, Google acquired them in 2014, and they were cooking. So how did a company this stacked, this deep in AI get caught slipping? Well, in late 2022, OpenAI drops ChatGPT, and the internet melts down overnight. Every executive at Google starts sweating. CEO Sundar Pichai issues a real-life code red. You know it's serious when the trillion-dollar company starts speaking in Star Trek references. Everything pivoted to AI. This wasn't a side project anymore. It became the exclusive mission of the company. You know, there's nothing goblins in the business world hate more than losing their first market advantage. It's not even about losing money. It's about not making the money you could have made, which technically isn't losing money at all. But if you told that to a Google exec, they'd say that's even worse. So Google, they had the talent, they had the infrastructure, they had the freaking transformer model, the literal blueprint of modern AI. They helped birth the industry. And through this tumultuous saga of the AI race, Google knew they had to respond. They needed something bold, something game-changing, something that would bend reality, transcend expectation, remind the world who they really were. That something was Bard. Yeah, that's what they launched with. Oof. Yeah, that was Google's big swing, and it missed by a country mile. But you're Google, one of the most powerful tech companies in the world. And you have not one, but two elite AI teams within you.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Google Brain and DeepMind, both with impressive achievements before anyone even knew what ChatGPT was. And this is what you put out? Sundar Pichai was probably watching from his ivory tower in tears, like totally horrified. And so his proclaimed code red reverberated through the Googleplex. Everyone started scrambling, roadmaps pivoting, slide decks being trashed, new ones being built at light speed, ironically without AI. I'm sure every email thread had AI at least 12 times from that point forward. I'm sure of it. The R&D fund was over. The research era was over. AI is the mission now. We're going to war, boys and girls. And with pressure mounting, their stock sliding, and theoretical profits evaporating in their minds, Google goes full
Goblin
mode. So they finally start making strategic choices. First, they merge their two AI factions. Google Brain and DeepMind become Google DeepMind.
Move this man!
Wow, 5 stars on the naming, guys. Google's AI focus recenters. Not everyone got to march in the Goblin campaign, though. Ethical AI researchers who are asking hard questions, fired, thrown off the boat, because personal data privacy, blah, blah, blah.
Ain't nobody got time for that! Ain't nobody got time for that! Ain't nobody got time for that!
Speed is the name of the game. Get the philosophers out of the way, we're building a missile.
I beg your pardon?
Then another move by Google. A fat check for $3 billion, straight to Anthropic, another AI research lab founded by OpenAI defectors. Because the enemy of my enemy is just another startup I can bankroll for the sake of it. You want $100 million? Of course you do. Anthropic's pockets get fatter, and now Google has a horse in both lanes, internally and externally. They are leveling the playing field. Meanwhile, OpenAI gets investment too, from Microsoft, to the tune of $13 billion. And you're probably thinking, wow.
That probably made OpenAI unstoppable, huh?
No, my sweet child.
Think about this. You're OpenAI, and you're thinking, thanks Microsoft, now we can put ChatGPT on every Windows device, right?
Wrong.
Microsoft just wants to rebrand everything. Copilot this, Copilot that.
That shit is fucking trash, dog.
Taking credit for something they didn't even make. Typical Silicon Valley behavior.
Jill Bates
Would be so proud. So OpenAI isn't calling any of the shots in their own deal. Google, however, doesn't have that problem. They own their entire ecosystem. Search, YouTube, Android, Gmail, Chrome, and so much more. They're just sitting on a war chest of distribution. Opportunity is on their side, leaving OpenAI to fiddle with new models because that's all they can do.
This one's for math. This one's for drawing.
That's cute. You'll get it someday, little buddy.
All Google needs now is a comeback, and it's coming faster than anyone expected. Turns out going Goblin mode actually works. Sometimes. Move fast and break things, they say. Despite the Bard disaster and Google's rising desperation, they didn't just recover, their comeback is already underway. And their first ace in the hole, Gemini. Even if not at initial launch. Let's not talk about that right now. Anyway, their large language model trained not just on words, but videos and images, and essentially everything within Google's reach across all their platforms. You know, a cool 5+ billion people using all their services today. But it wasn't until Gemini's 1.5 launch that the entire industry knew who had the biggest in town. They dropped the biggest an AI nerd can, with a massive context window where you can shove entire books into it in a single prompt and still have room to spare. This sent chills through the industry, reminding everyone just who Google is, and that their powers should not be underestimated. We're talking 1 million token context windows, while most models, even to this day, max out around 128,000. That's a huge flex. In simple terms, it just means you can talk to it a lot more, and it'll remember a lot more about you without failing. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but that's a huge difference in the AI race when all of these models are growing and learning over time. But Google can do it on a much larger scale, not to mention because their compute power already dwarfs their competition, even Microsoft. Imagine scanning your entire inbox to summarize everything so you can pretend like you care about getting back to those replies you never got to. Or ghostwriting your resignation email because you utterly forgot how to communicate with other humans without AI. Yeah, we're already there in some ways. So, no other model can do it at this scale, but that's just the warm-up. The real weapon isn't Gemini itself, it's everything around Gemini. It starts with Google Chrome's search experience, where AI is now baked in by default. Whether you like it or not, every search gets auto-summarized. Google's AI is already crawling into slides, docs, and even YouTube, roasting your slide decks, mocking your college thesis behind your back, even though it wrote some of it, probably the entire first draft. But there's more. There's always more. Enter VO. Google's new video generation model that creates arguably the best, most concise visuals in the entire AI video landscape. Clean transitions, legible text, 5 fingers on every hand.
Bro said,
The beat go off? Hey.
I can't overstate how significant that is. Real AI enthusiasts will know that video AI's biggest enemy was the humble human hand. Veo removed so much AI slop that other competitors still have today. They create just simply stunning physics-based motion, perfectly proportioned humans, clean, crispy transitions. Video that genuinely looks real. It makes footage that could fool you into thinking it was filmed on a real camera. And if not you, your grandma. And if not your grandma, your mom. You know what I mean. It even exceeds platforms like Runway ML, who've been in this space for years. Or, while OpenAI's Sora was also hyped for months, it fumbled on arrival. Not as bad as Google's Bard, admittedly, but it was a flop too. In comparison, Google barely said a word about Veo, then they dropped it, and it was an immediate hit. No weird rollouts, no stage demos, this time at least, just results. It seems Google really figured out how to ship new AI tech.
Developers.
Yes!
And if that's a trend, Google isn't just back, it could be making a historic rise to show
Al Saltman.
who really is the daddy-o of AI. So, from Google's Bard disaster to this in under 5 years, that's some serious execution. And don't forget, they still haven't fully utilized their distribution. These are just baby steps. I can't wait until Google's Calendar can figure out meetings from my Gmail without me. Like, yeah, another corporate meeting about that thing or whatever, sure, just put it on my calendar, send me an update every morning, just as an example. Chrome, YouTube, Android, Gmail, Docs, Search, Slides, there's so much more possibility for Google. Google doesn't need to build more apps. They need to figure out more ways for their apps to work together. They obviously have the users already. And while everyone was counting them out, Google was ready to flip the board in their favor. So now, Google's making their AI comeback pretty clear. So, from Bard to Veo, it's a different Google now. They built the very tech behind AI today after all. Now they're squeezing out every last drop of that sweet, sweet personal data we willfully handed over to them over the past 20 years.
Got him! Got him!
Your searches, your emails, probably even that Google Doc file buried somewhere in your drive called final_final_2_ for real this time. Now it's drafting your breakup messages and making you sound more professional with coworkers. And if it means no one ever has to make a PowerPoint again eventually,
Then it's truly a gift to humanity.
OpenAI has the hype and even has massive investment, but Google's empire will strike back. So far, with arguably the best video model on the market and an absolute top contender in Gemini 1.5. But so much more is yet to come. Can you think of another way Google hasn't even utilized their own platforms for AI? Leave it in the comments. I'm Bugsy. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.